good morning. Today is another one of our first fives. And we're looking at a text from Matthew chapter 15, a text that many of us have heard the story, but I wonder if we always think about it in ways that are helpful. It's a story in which Jesus feeds 4,000. So let's just read the story together, beginning with verse 29. Jesus left there and went along the Sea of Galilee. Then he went up on a mountainside and sat down. Great crowds came to him, bringing the lame, the blind, the crippled, the mute, and many others, and laid them at his feet, and he healed them. The people were amazed when they saw the mute speaking, the crippled made well, the lame walking, and the blind seeing, and they praised the God of Israel. Jesus called his disciples to him and said, I have compassion for these people. They have already been with me 3 days and have nothing to eat. I do not want to send them away hungry, or they may collapse on the way. His disciples answered, Where could we get enough bread in this remote place to feed such a crowd? How many loaves do you have? Jesus asked. 7, they replied, and a few small fish. He told the crowd to sit down on the ground. Then he took the 7 loaves and the fish, and when he had given thanks, he broke them and gave them to the disciples, and they in turn to the people. They all ate and were satisfied. Afterward, the disciples picked up 7 baskets full of broken pieces that were left over. The number of those who ate was 4,000, besides women and children. After Jesus had sent the crowd away, he got into the boat and went to the vicinity of Magadan. And I love this story for a couple of reasons. One, I love that these people had been listening to Jesus for days. They had followed him. They had listened. They wanted to hear what he had to say. See, I can't help but think they knew what we sometimes find in our own lives, is the more I rest in the presence of Jesus, the more I find true life. Now, we also see that doesn't negate the realities of life. As in, if I don't eat, I'm going to eventually die. Now, 3 days is not enough to probably kill you. However, you're probably pretty hungry. And so Jesus has compassion. And that's one of the things I love about Jesus is we see all the time Jesus is full of compassion. So in his compassion, he wants to feed these people. He wants to do something tangible for those who he loves. Now, I think a couple of things are important for us to think about there. One, we're called to do tangible things for those whom we love. Now, here's the challenge for followers of Jesus. We're called to love who? Everyone. So we're called to do tangible things of love for everyone. Whether we really like them or not, we're still called to love them. And then this kind of unique thing happens, and most of us will miss it because we don't kind of know what's going on, but he asked, how many loaves of bread do we have? And they said 7. And there's 4,000 people plus women and children. So let's say there's 10,000 people at least who've gathered together. This place is packed. And they're like, there's no way we can feed them. We just have a little bit of bread. 7 loaves, to be exact. And why would 7 matter so much? Well, if you'll go back with me to 1 Kings, when it talks about how much gold Solomon has every year, it was 666 talents of gold every single year. Now, I'm not an expert in terms of measuring gold, but what I can tell you is this. There's no way you had the exact same thing every single year. No, that's not the point of the writer of 1 Kings. What the writer of 1 Kings is trying to tell us is that no matter how much gold Solomon had, it was never enough. You see, in the Jewish world, number 666 has way more to do with incompletion than the mark of the beast. It's this idea that it's just not enough. It's never enough. It's always this wanting for more. It's this consumption of more. And so the mark of that is that 666 is just the number of incompletion. But 7, or 777 even at times, is the number of completion. And so what happens here? How much bread do you have to the disciples? It doesn't seem like enough. We have 7 loaves. 7's just not enough. It gives it to the people. How many do they have left over? 7. Interesting, I know. But here's what I think the writer here is trying to tell us. That when Jesus is present, what we find is often we have enough when it seems like we don't. Often there is enough to be complete when it doesn't seem like it's possible. That sometimes when Jesus is present, his compassion is enough to expand what we have beyond what we thought possible. And with him, it's enough. And so here's my challenge for you today. Will you rest in the presence of Jesus? Will you recognize he has compassion on you and on me and on everyone else? And will you recognize that with him, maybe, just maybe, he offers us enough? And we'll catch you next time for another First Five. Have a great day.